On today's episode of Gathering the Kings.
I love what I do, and I feel like I'm living my true purpose. I feel like I actually don't have a ceiling anymore, and sky's the limit. And I think for entrepreneurs, that's something that if we can break that ceiling and everything is up to us and it's possible, and we just keep going for more.
You are listening to Gathering the Kings with Chaz Wolf, featuring fellow 7, 8, and even 9-figure business owners who have real battle scars from business and life, but have prevailed as the king that they are designed to be. We welcome high-performing entrepreneurs to the stage in order to reveal the real of the real on what it takes to build a successful business today. We dissect the good and bad decisions they've made along the way that give a true and accurate picture of the journey of success and how you too can get there. Through this dialogue, you will learn the value of growing your network and surrounding yourself with power players and kings like today's guest. Grab your pen and notebook because we're about to dive in.
All right, everybody. I'm Chaz Wolf. I'm your host. Gathering the Kings. We're back. I've got Paul Larson on the King stage today. My brother, thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm doing well, Chaz. How are you?
Good, man. We were just kind of chatting offline about some really cool people you got to hang out with. I love getting with high-level people and just doing cool stuff, especially when you get to do it for your future. And you were tipping off a couple cool things that you guys might be doing with an island. So maybe we'll get to that. But tell me what kind of business that you're in. Tell me what you're doing, what kind of industry you're in, that type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Totally honored to be here. Appreciate the opportunity. Paul Larson out of Spanish Fort, Alabama, and I am a commercial real estate investor. And what I focus on is multifamily cash flowing assets. So started buying real estate, small duplexes, quadplexes, really love the, putting the tenants in, creating the equity, creating the cash flow, then refinance, repeat, right?
Yeah.
And then we slowly move from small 2 units, 4 units, 10 units to larger, 20, 30 units at a time. And man, I would say about a year into it, I stumbled on a mobile home park. And I love the fact that I just own the land. So I had to kind of think about this and say, how does this work? I own the land. The tenants own the mobile homes. So I don't have to work on roofs, toilets, sheetrock, flooring, right? I just make sure I take care of the land. So I like that aspect of it to reduce the maintenance and just overall headache. And when you do that, you can scale much faster, right? You don't need so many people to scale, kind of the way we did it. So it was a small park. It was 44 pads and loved it. A few months later, locked up another small RV park, which is a little bit different than a mobile home park, right? So these things have wheels. They come and go, and it's a different asset class. And what I decided to do was treat it more like a mobile home park and have more longer term tenants. And so in turn makes it easier. So did that, bought a few deals. And back in 2020, I met a phenomenal person that became my best friend and one of my business partners, Jeff Guo. And I met him doing stuff like this right here. I wanted to grow. We were growing and we wanted to learn, hey, how can we raise capital? We're having a lot of investors that want to come in and do deals with us. And we're like, man, we have no idea how to raise capital, how to structure this and do it right. Why not, pay to learn how to do it and figure out how the big boys are doing it. So my wife at the time bought a ticket to Commercial Empire event. Tim Bratz puts that on and it was phenomenal. It changed the game for me. But while I was there, I met Jeff and we sat down and shared a sandwich. Long story short, we stayed in contact. 4 or 5 months later, we bought our first deal together. Bought a 5-unit deal. We're like, hey man, that was fun. Let's do another deal. We did a 48-unit deal. Hey, that was great. We still enjoy hanging out and doing deals. We did a 125-unit and we did about 400 units last year together. So, we were able to scale. We had the right people in the right place. We enjoyed the heck out of the whole ride. And now we're, buying RV parks and developing RV parks. So that's kind of the asset that I've been sticking to, which is RV parks.
Yeah, I love it. I love the backstory too of just, strategic connections, events, friendship, all those things play into success. And it sounds like it has for you as well. I'm curious, before we get into some of the nuts and bolts of kind of how you've done and the scaling and teams and stuff like that, why are you still pushing at this level after you've done 400 deals just last year? I mean, you don't need the quote unquote money at this point. Why are you still pushing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'll tell you a little backstory that got me to that point. So after high school, I tried college out, wasn't for me, just absolutely was bored in high school, literally took the books, put them in my locker, and I passed without studying for one test, right? Just didn't enjoy school, just couldn't sit still. But what I did enjoy doing was making money. I enjoyed, taking ideas and making something out of them. But I didn't quite hit my stride. So I decided to go into construction. So a lot of what my family did, blue collar. And I would say back in 2007, in December, I was 21 years old. I just bought a house. I just bought a car. And in January of 2008, I got laid off. Had no job, but I had a brand new car and a brand new house at 21 and very little money saved up. Had no idea what happened. And I haven't told that story a lot, and I feel like I probably should. But so out of desperation, I said, you know what? I don't want to work for a company that is going to hand me a paycheck and I'm dependent on that. I want to be able to produce what I feel is right for me and the way I want to do it. So I went right into sales. I had people say, man, you'd be great in sales. Why don't you get in sales? So I went to the financial industry. And I was lucky to get in there. I was against a lot of college graduates, a lot of people that was much smarter than me. But I had the entrepreneurial DNA. I would get up, I would go to work early, I would learn. I was a big sponge. I knew I didn't know it all, but I knew I could outwork the person to my left and to my right. And that's what I did. And I was blessed. I had a great couple of years there. And then I was headhunted by another company, and it was the car business. So they brought me in to sell cars. So I sold cars for like a year, and it was an absolute grind. From that point, they brought me in as a sales manager. And then I was recruited by another it was all high-end dealerships, BMW, Jag, Land Rover, Cadillac. And then I started going from dealership to dealership, building out their finance department, hiring and recruiting their salespeople, training them, teaching them how to close deals. Did that for several years. And out of nowhere, I got a text from a guy that was a COO of a real estate investment firm. And we had met before, and we had a great time. We got to know each other and just chat and talked. And he's seen something in me, apparently, and reached out when he made it big, a small company. And he was like, hey, man, I need some help growing this company, some help, building out a sales team. And I said, okay, great. Talk to me. Yeah. Long story short, we got in there, and man, it blew up. Spent 2 years there, helped develop the company. He was phenomenal. The CEO and COO, they are doing tremendous now. We talk on the phone periodically, play golf together. And that's kind of how I got my start in real estate. And that was a wholesale company. So we did wholesale and we flipped. And when I came on, they were doing 3 to 5 deals a month. When I left, we were knocking down about 40 deals a month. So at the end of the day, I was still grinding my face off. And my whole point was that I wanted to spend more time with my wife, with my kids, and make a lot of money and travel. I didn't want to pick and choose. So I decided to venture out, leave on great terms, and start my own company. And that's what I did. And I started learning about multifamily and the power of multifamily and how much faster you can scale by buying real estate. So when you say 400 units, it's really not that hard to buy 400 units in multifamily. You kind of get what you look for. And as a matter of fact, I'm selling off small deals right now that are 2 and 4 units. I just posted them today, and there's offers left and right. And the way I explained is, hey, we're taking some chips off the table, and we're focusing on our 75 unit and up properties. Because I promise you, Chaz, it takes just as much effort to manage and operate a 4 unit as it does a 75 unit. Actually, it's less work on a 75 unit. There's a lot more money and juice for the squeeze, and you can put a phenomenal team together where people take pride in ownership, and it creates a much better lifestyle. So I keep going because it's easy. I love what I do, and I feel like I'm living my true purpose. I feel like I actually don't have a ceiling anymore, and the sky's the limit. And I think for entrepreneurs, that's something that if we can break that ceiling and everything is up to us and it's possible, and we just keep going for more.
Yeah, 100%. One thing that you kind of said in there too, which obviously goes into what you're saying as far as living your purpose, is that you wanted freedom, time freedom, to be able to spend more time with your, wife and kids and your family. What do you think, looking at what you've been able to do, what's the first thing that pops into your brain around why you now have the freedom that you desired then? What is it about your current situation now that
Cash
allows you to
flow.
have the freedom? Cash flow.
Cash flow, first of all, the thing about sales is I always said it was, for lack of a better term, you go from hero to zero at the first of the month, every month. No matter what you did last month, now you have to acquire new, clients.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but that's transactional.
Yeah.
What we want is long-term generational wealth. That means that your property that rent will go into your bank account at the first of every month. And the more properties you have and that cash flow goes into that bank account every month, that is a cash flow standpoint that helps you live your lifestyle. You don't have to be on edge and go, oh my gosh, where's the next deal coming from? You can be in the moment with your wife and your kids, or if you're on vacation or whatever you enjoy doing, right? You can be in the moment. So that's the cool thing about, multifamily real estate. I would say the cash flow is what helps keep the lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that. And I would even venture to say that, specifically saying that most people who are listening to this podcast are running some sort of a business, but they're still in the setting up stage. They're still in the grind stage. They're still trying to develop systems and teams. Maybe they're in real estate, maybe they're not. But even if they aren't in real estate, there's lots of ways to invest in cash flowing real estate, specifically multifamily. And so for someone who's not in real estate, would you say to that person listening right now, while they're building their business, that they should also be developing cash flow for long-term lifestyle? Or is there a certain point in their financial journey that they should they close their business altogether and join you in multi, like what do they do?
Yeah. Okay. So I like that question, because that's what I'll help people with all the time, because I love to get in a room and talk with someone that really wants more, that really wants to grow. And I think we all start our businesses for the end result, right? We want to have the lifestyle that we choose. And I think a lot of us run into a situation where it's not the residual cash flow, but there's nothing wrong with that. The first thing I recommend you do is to get educated before you invest money into a real estate deal, before you invest money with a GP like me or anyone that, raises money to take deals down. You need to get educated. You need to get in groups like this, right? Your group, there's probably guys in your group right now that are high-level entrepreneurs in the real estate asset class, right? And you can ask questions, you can grow with them. You can get a college education. You can get 10 years in the matter of 6 months. Because a lot of guys, we've went through a ton of mistakes, a ton of problems, a ton of trying to pivot and figure out what's best for us. And we can share those with each other and help that in particular person grow. So I say educate yourself first. Read some books, listen to some podcasts, because this is not a get rich overnight thing. This is a get wealthy over a period of time, right? I would say, education would be key. And that's probably why you enjoy education so much, because that's the foundation of helping somebody grow. Yeah. And when people don't understand something, they hesitate to do, right? But as you educate yourself, you get more confidence and you're able to take shots that some people never take. And these little shots add up over time. So that's why I say it's not like a get rich overnight, but you know how quick this year goes by. Look where we're at now. We're halfway through the year, right? So if you get that education up front, and the people that you meet in masterminds and the people that you meet in groups like this, it's going to level you up. You're going to learn faster. And then you can make a solid, smart decision on where you need to go. I would say that would probably be the first step.
Obviously I'm a real estate investor and we share so many just mindset things I can already tell. But would you say for the person who doesn't have any real estate investments, can they become wealthy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. And so why do you choose real estate then, as opposed to the stock market or opposed to like all these other opportunities? Why is real estate so close to the heart for you?
Because real estate, anybody can understand real estate when you look at numbers, right? I don't knock crypto. I don't knock the stock market. I have money in a little bit of all of it because I diversify. Sure. But most of my portfolio, 90% plus, is in real estate. Why is that? It's because I can look at a property. I can look at let's say a 50-unit property. I can say, okay, this is the market rent. This is the lowest it will go in bad times. This is where market is right now. Where can we push it to? What are the amenities at this property compared to the amenities in town? Like I can figure this out, right? And then I know that it doesn't matter if another apartment or park or self-storage property sells, they could sell for $1 right next to me. It's not like a single family house, right? If that single family house, if '08 comes and these things start, being sold off, then your value drops. That doesn't happen in commercial real estate, right? They're going to base that off of income producing. So if I say I have 50 units and I know I can get $1,000 a month minus my expenses, this is what this property is worth in good times and bad times, period. So it's a confidence thing, right? Yeah. It's a confidence thing. Again, if you understand and you know a product that well, then you feel good about it. Also, there's a million other reasons, right? Tax benefits. I can appreciate my properties. I mean, I can make money by not paying a certain amount of taxes. We pay very little in taxes, quite honestly. Another thing is there's, exit strategies. If you want to sell down the road when the time is right, you can 1031 exchange your money. So let's say if you make $1 million profit on your real estate, that most people, if they make $1 million, pay 45% taxes. Right? Yeah. I can take that $1 million profit and I can roll that into another deal. And now I can buy a $5 million project with that $1 million. And it just goes on and on. It's a snowball effect. There's too many benefits to real estate to not, take advantage of it. And again, I'm not the smartest person and I've been able to figure it out. And I've also surrounded myself with the right people that we put together on a team and we're able to do it over and over again. That's why it means so much to me. There's not a 90% drop. It like crypto, like look at the market, man, right? Real estate is up here. Everything else is down here. So, when I look at these different, aspects to an investment, real estate is always going to be at the top.
Yeah. I love the passion that you're speaking with. I think that all entrepreneurs to a degree, once you find that lane, you just hone in on the energy of passion, excitement. You can totally tell that it brings you life. So I love that perspective. Okay. So let's go back in the journey a little bit and let's talk about some X's and O's. I want to know first, you kind of gave us a story, how you got started and the mindset of why you wanted to do your own thing and the ceiling, a little bit of sales background, but was the sales unto then entrepreneurship with the ceiling that you described, was that simply because of money or was that the money and the freedom together? Or was one more important than the other for you back then?
Money was more important at first, right? So you go from, being laid off and a house and a car and no money in the bank. Money is like the first thing you're thinking about.
Gotta eat.
I have to make money. So, and then when I realized that, sky's the limit in sales, as long as I provide value and I understand my product and I truly want to help someone, I can sell, right? It's just the way it is. If the product makes sense for the customer and it fits, that's a done deal. It's closed. So, at first it was money. Then it become time for you. Because in sales, you can make a lot of money. And I guess a lot of money is just, an opinion. How much is a lot of money, right? Yeah, but I would say the top 1% makes $450,000 or more, right? And so if you're making that or more, you're filthy rich. That's just the way it is. And money is not hard to make. Money is very easy to make. It's easy to multiply, but you have to have the right opportunity to do it. And it starts somewhere, right? So I would say first it was money, then it was time freedom, because then my second kid was born. And so I left before he woke up and I came home and, I used to have to drive home and have lunch and try to spend time. And I said, you know what, this is not good. So it just kind of all worked out because when the real estate investment firm reached out to me, it was like a perfect storm, so I kind of jumped on it. And then from there, I realized, man, I'm still working a ton of hours. Right. I know that I can do this. I have to take a shot. And right now I have to take it. So I took it. And thank goodness I did. And it scaled past my wildest dreams, to be quite honest with you. I'd be lying to you if I told you I thought we'd be here this fast, but it worked out. And I'm very thankful for that.
Do you think that you had real estate kind of like in the back of your mind? And so that way, when this opportunity popped in, it was like, boom, you took it? Or did you not even know much about it at that time?
So we owned a couple of rental properties, but we didn't have the best experience with them. So it wasn't like I had a burning sensation, but I knew after, we did a commercial property. So to tell you a little bit about my wife, we were in the restaurant industry for 10 years. And we just sold 3 restaurants and a food truck catering business as of 2021. That was my wife's. Wow. Yeah, my wife is Laotian. Her background, a lot of her family's own restaurants across the country. You know, my wife, as a little kid, would cook in the kitchen with mom and dad. So,
Wow.
you know, we had some really successful restaurants. That really had us working a ton of hours. But one of the restaurants, we did a seller finance deal in like 2016. And the cool thing was, it was a triple net lease. And when I got a taste of that, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I have a triple net lease. The tenant pays for everything, insurance, expenses, mortgage payment, and I'm getting paid, right? So that was several $1,000s a month net profit on one deal. And I said, man, this is awesome. So if that's a few grand on this little simple deal, if we get another one here, another one there, and that's when the money started making sense. The numbers started making sense for very little effort with the right process and system in place. And it's pretty incredible. I think that's when I had a taste of that. And when the opportunity came, I was like, I got to take this.
Yeah. Okay. So I completely relate to that, but you've done a really good job here, Paul, of painting a picture of how little effort and how we can make gobs of money in real estate. But I want to flip the coin. Usually in the show, I'm asking for like a bad decision, or what was the struggle? What's the sticky that it's just like, what's that for you right now in your role?
So I would say I don't necessarily, there's not a big sticky right now, but I went through a ton starting, I can share
give us that.
I think that's a little bit more important. At first we were flipping and buying properties and just over rehabbing, right? Not needing to over rehab a property. You got to really understand. You got to understand the market, right? Just because you want something to look really nice, you need to make sure you're in the right market, which is a difference between quartz and Formica countertops, which is a difference between $1.50 flooring to $5 flooring.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of guys run into that. We ran into that a couple of times, just having so many projects going on and overdoing it. Yeah. I think raising capital is important. You can lose a lot of sleep if you don't know how to do it, because, once you take someone's money, it's showtime, right? So getting all that stuff into play, I waited a lot longer to raise capital than I should have. I think that you can learn how to raise capital a lot faster. You don't have to spend 2 years trying to figure it out. You can go to an event, learn from someone that's doing it, reach out to me, reach out to guys that are raising capital, take them down, because you need to get in and do deals with people that are already doing them. So I would say, don't stay on the sidelines. Just hop into a deal with someone, put some money into a deal, offer some value, figure out how to joint venture. I didn't joint venture at first. I did the lone wolf thing for a couple of years, and I absolutely love to joint venture. It's been phenomenal the way we structure our deals. So we're able to take deals down, bring in smart people. Sometimes we have 2 to 3 GPs on a deal. Everybody plays a role. So you play your role, I play my role. And we do Zoom calls, we meet, we talk about everything, and we make sure we keep the project on timeline.
Yeah, that's great. And that's more, it sounds like more of on a project basis as opposed to a long-term multiple project scenario. It's not like you're set up a long-term company. You have yours, they have theirs, and it's project based. Per
deal. So you and I may, take down a 100-unit deal. Right? It might be in your backyard. So we may raise all the capital and say, hey, we need your management team to manage this. We'll teach you guys how to operate this park. We'll raise the capital. We'll sign on the loan. Let's work out the project management side, right? So let's get you to oversee this. Let's do our call every week. Make sure we get this thing to the finish line and make it worth X. Take it to the finish line, cash out, refinance, pay investors money back, and then just move on to the next deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that you're right. The principle that joint venture really leads into, and this is maybe just a little plug for the listener here as they're listening to you talk, it's the who, not how factor, right? Like the lone wolf says, how do I do this?
Yep.
The joint venture perspective is, who do I need to do this? I think that's also that's super applicable in every single business. Obviously it's applicable in real estate, but in every single business, you have to get out of your own way, and you can only get as big as you allow yourself to be, or until you start, replicating or duplicating or going outside of yourself. It's a huge principle. Okay. So would you say that, not raising capital early enough, or, doing things on your own, were those bad decisions, or were those things that you just kind of it took you longer to understand and that you would have just done faster if you had to go back?
Yeah, I would have done it faster. I don't think it was a bad decision. I learned a ton. It made me a better operator. I worked a ton. I got more gray hair in my beard, obviously, because of it, but it made me a much better operator. I don't regret any decision whatsoever, but I think those were some things that I could have done faster. Obviously, the past couple of years showed what you can do with the right people. And now, man, I look for ways to give equity away. I look for ways to bring people in, right? And that all comes down to like when I network, right? I won't do it with Joe Blow that walks up and says, hey, I want to do this with you, right? We're going to have to know each other for a little while. We're going to have to connect, have some calls. I need to learn about you. You need to learn about me. And if things sound right, who knows, in 6 months, when a deal comes along, when we're going to call on your name whenever it's time to put it together. As long as there can be some value added and you're the right person for the seat, a lot of cool things can happen.
Was it just the history of, we've done this a couple of times now and this is really successful? What's given you the confidence that you just expressed in being able to joint venture so easily?
Yeah. So what we did was we bought roughly about 150 doors before I met my business partner. And so we learned a ton together. And he had a phenomenal background working as an asset manager for a big REIT, managed about $500 million in real estate. And he knew a ton about it, right? When we linked up and we just enjoyed each other's background, added a lot of value from a lot of different ways. I handle the project management, he helps with the property management. We both bring deals to the table. We both raise 50-50 in capital. But the things that we do well are some of, like, he loves to look at spreadsheets. He loves to analyze a deal. It makes my skin crawl. I can do it. I do a great job, but I prefer not to do it, right? We can't be great at everything. So he does that. And then he says, all right, Paul, this is what we need to pay for it. And then I go to work. And then the rest is just teamwork all the way to the finish line. Yeah.
I love the, identify your lane, clarify your lane, run fast. Very good. Okay. So I want to ask you about, we've kind of talked about good and bad decisions a little bit, some good things that you've chosen to do along the way, but is there a process that you follow? You've kind of identified the process a little bit now of like getting to know someone before you bring them in for a joint venture, but just in general, like disciplines that you have, or maybe even around making decisions inside the business that you follow some sort of a process in order to make continued good decisions?
Yes, absolutely. I would say our buying criteria is key. Like, we're going to have a buy box. And if it doesn't check each box, guess what we do next?
Right.
Because we do what's called kill the deal. Right? We're going to kill it. We're going to shoot as many holes in it as we possibly can. And if we can't still kill it, then it's a deal. Now we'll raise the capital. We'll sign the loan. We actually put our own money in each deal too, and then we'll take it to the finish line. So the buy box, we buy in this population, in these markets, right? We're big in the Southeast. We're in Mississippi, Florida, and Alabama. We're moving into the Carolinas, Georgia. It's really great RV parks area as well. We love the Southeast because it's year round, right? It's year round. We have tenants year round. But I would say the buy box. And then if we check it all off, we're good to go. It reduces a lot of stress. It mitigates our risk completely. And we know as long as that deal fits our buy box that we created over the past few years, then we're good to go. Now we can confidently move on and close the deal. If it doesn't check the boxes, then we move on to the next deal. So without that, there's no other steps that are taken. And that is probably our number one process at that point.
The language that you've used, super familiar with, but for the person who's never heard buy box or criteria, decision-making criteria, they're listening right now. They're going, okay, this thing that I chose to do, it fits, I created 4 check boxes and it matches 3 of the 4. I could do it real easily. Or like, and they get excited about the opportunity, maybe for the revenue or for the sales, because they're trying to grow. They need the money. They're trying to, make payroll, all the different motivations of why to take the deal when maybe we shouldn't take the deal, or the next project or the next client. We can apply this to any business, right? What would you say to that person in that moment where they know they probably shouldn't, but they feel like they have to?
There's always another deal. There is always another deal. I promise you. I have a problem with it too, still to this day. Because I'll get a little emotional about a deal, but I learned to cut the emotions off. It's easy. You get involved, you get invested, you go through due diligence, you spend money, you spend time, and it's like, man, it's almost just right. But I can promise you, you're never going to have any horror stories to talk about by passing on a deal, right?
That's right.
But all it takes is one bad deal to slow you down from 3 or 4 really good deals. So I had a mentor tell me that. If you buy a really bad deal, what it's going to do is slow down 3 to 4 deals you bought, right? So you want to measure backwards. You want to kind of say, okay, what is going to happen if I buy this deal? All right, so now I have a bad deal and I'm raising capital, right? So what do we have to do? If an investor goes, hey, have you ever lost on a deal? What am I going to have to say? Yeah, I have. And that's not cool. That's not good. Do we make mistakes? Yeah. Are deals going to go south sometimes? Yeah. But that's why that buy box is there. Yeah. If you don't listen to that buy box, then you have to blame yourself for anything that goes wrong. So I would say, don't put that, don't put that on yourself to have to try to make something work. Have that buy box, figure it out, understand what it is, and then just make yourself be disciplined enough to wait for the next deal, because there's always another deal. Yeah. It never fails. Even when we work on something for 3 and 4 months at a time and we have to let it go, there's always something right down the road, right around the corner. It happens almost every time. So that would be my advice. Yeah,
I agree with you. Even from an outside of real estate perspective, the opportunity train comes by frequently. And you get so excited as an entrepreneur because that's what got you into business or real estate to begin with, because you didn't want the traditional thinking of 9 to 5 or whatever. You wanted freedom. You're optimistic. You want creativity. So when the opportunity train comes by and you start looking at these deals or businesses, man, it's so hard sometimes to stay focused on what it is that's in front of you or what you've committed yourself to, because the possibility over here, right? The shiny object,
Absolutely. We all know we've been there, and it's going to happen again. You just have to exit and move on.
Yeah. I think even because we both got a sales background, you can do the same thing in sales too, right? Like if you're hungry for a deal, or if you're desperate for a deal, the prospect knows it, right? They can sense it. They can smell it.
They can sense it. They can sense it. Absolutely. At the end of the day, you just got to have your buy box. And that's something I don't think enough people create as they're looking for deals. And if you want to be taken seriously by brokers, by sellers, off market, you have to have a buy box, because eventually they'll get tired of sending you deals if you're not closing anything. Right. So, when my phone rings a broker or a seller or somebody, I want them to go, all right, this is Paul's number. He wants to do a deal. This guy can do a deal. So if we give them the right criteria, we can shoot that out. We can shoot that out to the masses, and think about the lead gen that you'll get, and you'll get what you're looking for, right? They're not going to send you something that doesn't fit your buy box. So it's a good way to clarify how you buy your deals, and then start bringing some leads in and looking at deals and make some offers.
Yeah.
You have to make offers.
You said it earlier in the call here. You said you get what you look for, which is so true in life, right? Like whether it's positivity versus negativity, you're looking for family time. You're not looking for, you get what you look for, or even maybe a better way to say it is you get what you want, what you really want.
That's right. That is exactly right.
Because we can say what we want, but if we aren't doing the things that back up what it is that we say that we want, then we don't really want it. And so to your point, I think that if you can create the buy box, even inside of a business, a buy box for a client, a buy box for the next, project, for construction, whatever it is that fits these criteria, we do it. If it doesn't, we don't. And it's just cut and dry. It makes it super easy. And also too, even to the benefit of what you're saying, it seems as if you'd be cutting things off and cutting away opportunity, but it actually opens you up to all of the things that you really were looking for to begin with, because you were clouded over here with all of the things that really weren't a good fit.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So let me hit the speed round here with you. Okay. I want to know, which I might already know your answer on this one, but inside the business, if you could only pick one metric to track forever and ever, and that's the only thing that you could track, what would it be?
Man, I buy for cash flow. I would say ARV, after repair value. Okay. So I'm going to buy a deal, 55% ARV, 55 cents on the dollar. Right. So I don't have to run around and buy 100 deals to make good money and live a good lifestyle. I just have to buy a few really good ones. Yeah. So I'd say ARV, you look at what the project will be worth. You buy a 100-unit project, or 50 or 10 units, whatever the case may be. Yeah. You run it on a 90% occupancy at a market rent with a certain vacancy. And what will that project be worth? So if it's worth $2 million, I'm buying it for a little bit over $1 million. Yeah. It will never fail that way. Yeah. And I won't buy a deal every single month, but I buy 3 or 4 a year, and they're big deals. And so that will put you leagues ahead of other people that are just scratching by on deals. And there's plenty of them. You have to look for them, and you have to work to get them. So I would say ARV. And then after that, your buy boxes, that's everything for us.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. All right. What book would you recommend that a six-figure owner, or maybe someone who's newer in real estate, since we've kind of gone mostly real estate on this conversation, should read?
I'm going to say Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. That was a great book for me. It helped me understand, find the who, right, to get it done. Yeah. And it really woke me up. It really showed me that, man, you got to get out of your way, Paul. You have to get out of your way and have other people, leverage other people in a way to where we can all win and grow together and have so much more fun and scale at a much faster rate, or as fast as you like. Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. Love that book.
Incredible book. I read it not that long ago, actually, earlier this year, but probably time to read it again. But I reference it often. So that's fantastic. I know the answer to this one already, but for the sake of the listener, do you network or mastermind with other entrepreneurs or real estate people?
100%. Just got back from Charleston, South Carolina last week. Part of Legacy Family. Tim Bratz, phenomenal guy, friend, and learned a ton from him the past couple of years. But yeah, I definitely got a network. You need to join a mastermind. You need to get in the right room. I mean, this is where, the real deals get made. The real friendships are made. The lifelong friendships, right? People that are really going to tell you how it is. And, if you're in that room, you're going to learn tenfold. And just remember to add value. Don't go in there and try to take. Don't try to go in there and take. Even if you feel like you're the smallest guy or girl in the room, understand that we're all just people trying to grow and be better people, better fathers, husbands, wives, so on and so forth, right? Business owners. So you get in these deep conversations, and it's not these normal conversations that you have just walking down the street or having a breakfast or this and that, right? These are guys and girls that are at the top of their game, have worked very hard to get where they're at, and you're able to sit down and have a one-on-one conversation with them and enjoy yourself. I mean, the knowledge you gain is, it's not measurable, really.
Yeah. No, I love the perspective that you have. You said one thing that I want to just ask you a follow-up question to. How does one who maybe feels like, the smallest person in the room, how does one like that add value in that setting? They get into the room, they're around other people. Oh, I'm the smallest guy in the room. What do I do?
Yeah. I would just be completely honest. And I would say, Chaz, it's amazing to hear your story. I mean, man, my head is spinning just from, hearing what you've done and how you built it. Quite honestly, man, I feel like the smallest person in this room, and I want to add value. I just don't feel like I can. But I am so open to hear you tell me what I can do to help. Whatever you think it is, man, I want to add value. So how can I add value to you or anybody in here? What's your recommendation? And let them help you figure that out, because that's why you're there. You're there to grow. And trust me, you can add value, but I think if you ask, you will, right? If you're looking for it, you'll find it. And it just, to be genuine, just be yourself. And when you're your genuine self, like, the creative juices start flowing. You'll hear something. You'll be in there. You'll hear someone speak, or you'll have a conversation with somebody that night, and all of a sudden your head will be on the pillow at the hotel, and you go, man, now I know what I can do. Now I know I can help. Now I know I can be a part of this. And everybody starts somewhere. And just remember, be yourself, be genuine, and keep that positive mindset, and you'll add value left and right before it's over with.
Yep. I love it. Thanks for the just phenomenal answer. Appreciate that. Last question. If you lost it all, Paul, what would you do?
I'm getting right back in the real estate game. No questions asked. 100%. I mean, this is where it's at.
Do the same thing, same asset class, do all over again? Like what would happen the second?
Multifamily. I mean, I love multifamily. I love the asset. I mean, I probably would start looking at 100 units before even looking at the duplexes and quadplexes. I would do that differently. I would do bigger deals faster. I'm so bought in on real estate investing. I understand it. It's the cash flow, right? It's awesome for your bank to fill up on the first of every month. And then it just does it again and again and again and again, right? So you can buy, a few deals, or you can just keep going. It gives you options. Right. I would say I'd buy bigger deals right off the bat. I would network. I would join masterminds. I wouldn't worry about how much it costs. I would figure out how to pay for it. I would sell my car and pay for a mastermind and ride the bus to work if I had to get in a room and learn, because it's not about now, it's about the rest of your life. Take advantage of the opportunity that you're given right now. There's so many beautiful things that will happen, and you can achieve anything you want to achieve. And real estate is where I try to point people and help people. And, it's changed my life.
Yeah. Just so appreciate the value that you've given. I find myself like interjecting and trying to pull out little nuggets, but man, you've just delivered it up on a silver platter. I really just appreciate just your approach and just humility throughout the show here. How can someone connect with you? They've really enjoyed everything that you've got. Maybe they want to invest with you. Maybe they just want to get to know you. How do they find you?
Sure. Okay, so you can find me on Facebook at Paul Larson. That's PAULLARSON in Spanish Fort, Alabama. Instagram is _Paul_Larson. I'm on, LinkedIn, Paul Larson. And I have a website, which is larsonrei.net. And then my email is paul@larsonrei.net. So you can catch me on any of those platforms.
There you go. Again, Paul, thank you so much. So just curious to see, as time unfolds, even where our connection goes, I'm just thankful to meet high quality people like you. And you never know. I do have a piece of land under contract right now in Kansas City. Maybe it needs an RV park on it. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey man, let's talk. We have good ideas. We'd love to hear about it. And just honestly thrilled to be on, thankful to be on. And I do appreciate it, Chaz.
Yeah, brother. We wish you nothing but success.
Thanks for listening to Gathering the Kings. We hope you got a ton of value today and learned a thing or two about taking your business to 7 figures and beyond. If you desire more and want a community around you to help you get there, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. That's gatheringthekings.com. And I want you to apply for our next Becoming a King 90-day intensive. We are extremely exclusive by nature as a group. What that means is that we're really wanting only the entrepreneurs who take their business and targets super serious to apply. So if that's you think you got what it takes to level up your business, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com and apply. And we will see you on the other side.